Well, let me just make a little bit of some opening remarks about how I think we're doing offensively. Progress is being made, for sure. I'm happy with the effort that the guys, especially today, showed up with. I think we're beginning to kind of understand what it's going to take to be really good. And a lot of that is the work that they're willing to put in on the practice field. And I feel like that's kind of sinking in a little bit more than maybe it had the first week or so. That they're beginning to kind of understand, I think, that we're not going to change. Our approach isn't going to change, and that we're going to demand that they raise their expectations of one another. And they've done that. And it's been really fun to be around. They've worked, at doing what we needed them to do to kind of improve and what we laid out for them as kind of the plan for steady improvement. We don't have to play a game this week, which is good news. But we are moving in a very, very positive direction, and it's fun to be a part of. And I think the players feel that too. And I think from the practices and some of the things that you guys have gotten an opportunity to see yourselves, I think you see a group that enjoys being around each other. They enjoy competing against each other, and that's going to go a long way to making us a better football team in the fall. So with that, I'll open it up to whatever you guys want to talk about.
Start with the obvious question, I guess. What have you seen from the quarterback so far, especially Jaden kind of coming in here as the new guy?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pleased with all the quarterbacks, quite frankly. I think, I'll speak, maybe more on the whole offensively, but the quarterbacks in particular, because as you guys know, in our system, the way we run it, we put a lot on the quarterback now. And so his ability to learn and pick up things is very, very critical to us advancing this offense. I know Coach Kelly's probably used this term before with you, and I'll use it. I mean, they are kind of drinking through a fire hose right now. I mean, we've thrown a ton of installation at them, demanded that they get things right, and I know they're swimming a little bit. So not just them, but the entire offense. But I think their willingness to learn, their willingness to dig in, they've been competitive in the meeting room as well as on the practice field, and that's gonna produce the results that we're all looking for.
Just curious right here, Coach. Just curious about where you're at with the install and the offense, and Coach Kelly's talked a lot about laying the foundation and ratcheting up the competition. Now, how much of this offense still is set to evolve, post spring practice, and how much do you really want to accomplish right now?
Yeah, I would. If I put a percentage on it, I'd say we're maybe 30% installed. I put a moratorium on installation, which I have since broken 2 or 3 times, just because of situational football that we're running. But a week ago today, we made all together way too many mistakes as an offensive unit. So I put the brakes on installing new things and just have really talked to the players more about how hard they're playing, how hard they're competing, how hard they're, given what they've got to give to the offensive unit and to their teammates in particular. So that's been a lot more of the rally cry than throwing in a few more plays or some more fancy scheme stuff. It's been more about teaching them how to play hard and what the expectations and what it's supposed to look like when we flip the film on as an offensive unit and start to kind of look at who we are and what we are. I think to the second part of your question, we're going to evolve all summer, quite frankly. I think we're still, as a staff, getting a real clear picture of who we are, what we have, what tools we have at our disposal, what's that going to look like ultimately in the fall. I don't think we really know yet. I think, we've got some clues. We've got some glimpses into some guys that we know these guys have to touch the football. But beyond that, I think you've seen throughout the spring us juggle the offensive line around a lot. I think you've seen us move receivers in and out a lot and flip this guy over here. And that's really in an effort to evaluate these guys as thoroughly as we possibly can. And then we've got the summer to kind of drill that down and piece that down and kind of really make it look like what it's going to look like in the fall.
Coach, you have a pretty deep receiving core this season. I was sort of curious as to which guy or certain guys have sort of stood out to you so far this spring?
Oh, boy. We do have a nice unit there. I love the work that Coach Hankton's doing with those guys. I think our attention to detail at that position is getting better. I think we've got some strides to make as far as I guess I would say our stamina. I wish was maybe a little bit better, but we're getting there. As far as signaling somebody out, I think offensively in particular, I won't do that. But what I will say is I think they've been the most consistent position group so far, as far as how they've played and the big plays that they've made and the explosive plays that they've made. So I'm very pleased where that's going. I think there's a number of guys you could point to at that position who have shown that they're guys that are going to be valuable to us heading into the fall.
Hey, Mike Wilson, Alexander from The Advocate. When you talk about the scheme and how much it's going to evolve, how much is that also dependent on ultimately finding your starting quarterback? Because they have some different skill sets. Are you really not going to be able to actually kind of nail that whole thing down until you pick your starter?
I mean, I think that's a piece of it for sure. One thing that has always been important to Coach Kelly and I is the versatility of what we have as an offensive structure so that it could be kind of plug and play depending on who the quarterback happened to be or what our best personnel group happened to be. I mean, is it going to be 4 wide receivers? Is it going to be 3 tight ends? Is it going to be, what is it exactly going to look like? And I think all those evaluations are happening now, and I'll get a better feel for that. And then I think that also includes the quarterback position. So what fits the quarterback that ends up winning the job the best? What's his skill set? Where is he most comfortable? And then tailoring things to make sure that it's kind of in concert with one another at that position in particular, but based on all of our offensive personnel too. Well, you got to let go of it.
Hey, Coach. Shay Dixon with 24/7. What have you seen from John Emery? He's a senior now, and Coach Kelly's spoken highly of him at times. What's been your evaluation?
Very similar. I like the direction that he's going. I think he's learning how to strain more. He's ultra talented. His talent level is off the charts in all areas of playing the running back position. I think as he continues to learn the system, and as I said, I think, all of them are swimming a little bit, and he's been bitten by that bug a little bit from time to time. But he's fought through it, and I'm proud of where he's headed, and I think there's a huge contribution coming from him in the fall.
We've heard so much about the team learning how to practice under Coach Kelly and how he does things. Since you've been with him and then away from him and back, I guess, what is different about the way he practices that might be an adjustment?
You mean for the team here? Yeah, I mean, I just think it's cramming more high-tempo periods into a shorter period of time, and the stamina that it takes to do that. And it really is a process in saying that. What I'm talking about more is, you can run all you want after you lift weights and condition all you want on your own. When you're an offensive tackle and you're leaning on another 300-pounder for 2 hours and you're expected to go as hard as you can possibly go every snap, that's a different type of conditioning. And it takes a little longer sometimes for that to kind of that understanding, and you have to show it to them. You have to talk to them about it, and then you have to demand it from them. And the players have been great about that. They've stepped up the level that they've done it at every single day we've been on the practice field. So we're getting closer.
Coach Mike Scarborough at TigerBait.com. So you're past the halfway point of spring. Are the quarterbacks where you thought they would be? You said they were swimming, but are they where you thought they'd be? And has there been any surprises? Anybody that is surprised you with their ability to grasp it, and you thought maybe they'd need more time?
Yeah, I don't know that I think there's a room full of really talented football players there, so I don't know that I'm surprised by anybody. I think I'm pleased in the fact that we've got some very, very healthy competition going on in that room. that we hope to build over time in all the position rooms. From top to bottom, those guys, from senior down to freshman to everybody in between, continues to go out there and compete their butt off every day, and it's just going to make them all better. And that's the exact competition that, as we move forward, I hope we've got in every single position room out there.
Hey, Mike, Glenn West, the LSU Country. Obviously, you spend a lot of time closely with the tight ends. I wonder if you could talk about the development of Jack and Cole in that room and just where you think you guys might be at this point.
Yeah, moving forward, there's a lot of work to be done there. And I think the best part about it is I think they realize it as much as I do. And I've been happy with their effort. We've got a lot of technique issues, a lot of small details of the game to not only learn but perfect. We're not nearly where I'd like us to be right now. What I do like is that in the meeting room and on the practice field, their ears are open and they're paying attention to trying to do things the right way. We've just got a lot of work to do, and like we do at all position groups, we're going to continue to grind at it.
Coach, you guys have been very open as to just sort of moving as many guys through as many different positions on the offensive line as possible, just sort of to expand the experience, especially with center. Mm-hmm. Is there any sort of worry that guys may not be able to learn all the nuances with every single different position on the line, given how complex each and unique each position may be, like left tackle to right guard or et cetera? Yeah,
I mean, I think that could possibly be a thought. I think in the bigger picture, because of what the program has dealt with over the course of the last couple years with, players not being available for whatever reason, whether that was, something that was going on with the player in particular, whether that was an injury, whether that was whatever it was, I think it's important, at least this time of year, for those guys to get as much exposure to as many positions as they possibly can and to be cross-trained, quite frankly, to provide depth across the entire front. And whatever that happens to be, whether that's 7 guys at the end of the day, 8 guys, 9 guys, maybe 10 guys, good Lord willing, that can play, multiple positions, we will eventually, probably not by the end of the spring, but over the course of the summer and headed into fall camp, settle those guys into a little bit more of a home, if you will, and not move them around quite so much. But in the evaluation process, it's really priceless for us to see those guys in a lot of different ways.
Hey, Coach, Eileen Natchik with WVLA. What have you seen in terms of character, and have you seen anyone step up as a leader versus who you want to see step up as a leader?
I think it's a work in progress. I do think that the leaders of our SWAT teams have naturally kind of evolved probably a little bit farther than some of the other guys on the roster at this point. It is important for us as a program that the players take ownership of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and that they set the standards and then hold each other accountable to the standards that they set. So I think we're seeing some progress where that's concerned. I think the SWAT teams that we established over the winter put some guys kind of in those roles. Now we're doing as much as we can day to day to encourage the rest of the group to kind of, okay, it's okay. I know you're not the SWAT leader of a team, but that doesn't mean you don't have a voice on this team and that you shouldn't exercise it. So that's kind of the next process, I think, as we go, is developing more of those guys and then putting those guys in a place where they can use that leadership effectively.
Sure. Just your general philosophy and maybe Brian's philosophy on a 2-quarterback system. Is it to be avoided like the plague, used when necessary? What are your thoughts?
We've done it before. I think ideally anybody would tell you if there's one clear winner, that's what you need to be doing. And, but we've had situations over the years while we've been together where we've had to play more than one guy in certain situations. So I know he's going to do and make the decision that he feels like is best for the football team, whether that's 1, 2, 4, 6, whatever. I'm sure we won't have that many. But, I think it's important that those guys understand that this competition is probably going to spill over into the fall, as we all kind of suspect it probably will. And they're all going to be given opportunity to win the job, and it's important for them to step up and seize that opportunity. Thank you, everybody.